South Korea will reportedly send a chartered flight to Atlanta as early as tomorrow to bring back hundreds of workers detained during a massive ICE raid on a Hyundai plant last week. More than 300 South Korean workers were detained during that raid, suspected of living and working in the U.S. illegally. For more on this, let's bring in CBS News foreign correspondent Ramy Inocencio. Ramy, good morning. Where does all of this leave relations between Washington and Seoul?
Errol, yeah, well, this is a low point right now in at least recent U.S.-South Korea relations. And really, relations are hugely important, we know, not just in politics, but also defense, vis-a-vis North Korea, vis-a-vis China, and also in business. For example, South Korea was the U.S.'s sixth biggest trading partner last year. And just over the summer in July, Seoul actually pledged to invest $350 billion in the U.S. as part of a trade and tariff deal. So this is definitely putting ties into a spin. And as those some 300 South Koreans wait for that charter flight to go home, South Korea's President Lee Jae-myung has weighed in. He said he feels what he calls a great responsibility for these people. Some who we can see there were shackled, and he called American treatment of them an unfair infringement of our people and our corporate activities. Now, after that ICE raid at that Hyundai plant, DHS said that this was the biggest single-site enforcement action in the history of the department. The allegation here, if you want to break it down, is that workers overstayed their visas. Some were called ESTAs. These allow business visas, business visits up to 90 days, where some were on visits that didn't allow them to actually do manual labor. Those are called B1 business visas. And I spoke to the president of the American Chamber of Commerce in Seoul. His name is James Kim, and he said that people in South Korea are not happy.
And the sentiment is obviously very, very negative. In fact, in my office, I usually have my TV turned on with the news. And this is obviously covered from morning to evening constantly. But everyone who I speak to, they view America as its #1 partner here from South Korea. Yeah, we're going to have some challenging times like anyone has. If you're married, you know what you're talking about.
And he also called that a blip and pointed out that in the past couple of years, South Korea became America's #1 foreign direct investor. He's optimistic, though, that Washington and Seoul will get through this. And he says, basically pointing out that marriage metaphor, he says they have to be.
That's fascinating, Ramy. So where do things go from here?
Yeah, well, reaction from President Trump, admittedly, could be harsher the way things might go, right? But it appears that he's trying to leave at least some kind of opening for a mea culpa from South Korea. For example, on Truth Social, he sent out a message, basically not just to South Korea, but to all foreign companies operating in the United States. He said things like, your investments are welcome. He also said, we encourage you to legally bring your, what he said, very smart people. But James Kim, again, with AmCham in South Korea, said the same.
I would say my key message is listen to what President Trump said today. He wants to encourage more foreign companies to invest in America. Bring your people, bring your resources into America, but do it legally.
Yeah, do it legally there. And in a nod to the notion, at least, that the U.S. needs foreign expertise coming from President Trump, he said that foreigners should come to the U.S. and then train American workers ultimately so they can actually do, the American workers can ultimately do the manufacturing themselves.
All right, Ramy Inocencio in London with the latest on this. Ramy, thanks.
Of course.